Welcome to Talking Shop, where we speak to different health and fitness professionals. Today we're speaking with the physiotherapist, Dr. Mike Gonzalez. How many years are you doing PT school?
Well, the actual graduate school is about 3 years, but I did mine during COVID. Everything was haywire and everything was at home. So the stress there with all the kids home and just dealing with all the studying that I had to do, all the hours of anatomy and whatnot.
Late nights looking at the body.
Not late nights, more like early mornings. I was
early
more
mornings?
like a morning riser.
You were a morning guy.
Yeah, I'll wake up literally at 5 a.m. and just get to work. I'll go to sleep early and just wake up early when everyone's sleeping, just trying to get after and trying to really create that moment of zone of flow, because if not,
man, I can tell you, I can get up and work out early in the morning, but get up to study, I can't.
Yeah,
I'm better at sleep, going to bed with after hours of studying,
right,
and then wake up, do my workout, come back, and then I can study.
Right,
but wake up to study. Oh my God, that's rough. That's rough. Let me ask you. So, what got you into the field of physical therapy?
Dude, it was just basically I was a coach for a long time, and then after that, I saw my not patients, but my athletes they were in
coach.
pain.
What type of coach were you?
So I was doing strength coach. I was doing CrossFit, a lot of CrossFit coach, functional fitness, and I just saw my athletes complaining of nagging pain here and there, and I just felt like I needed to step up my education on another level, and I was like, physical therapy looks like a good route to go to the next level, right?
Okay.
And create a stable environment at home. I have kids from young, so I was it's a very secure job, so let me go for that.
Right.
And I went into it. I dove into it, and I just never looked back. Honestly,
Nice.
I loved it.
Now you work at
now specifically I work at an outpatient clinic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Working with a general population,
general population or athletes in general that walk in there from 30 to 50 years old. Mainly a lot of adolescents, but I mainly deal with 30 to 50 years old or just orthopedic injuries, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
What stage would you say that you work with the most in the recovery process when they come off an injury?
From the acute,
right?
Yeah, from the acute. And then I do have some chronic pain patients that they haven't found any help anywhere else or found any resolutions, but mainly acute. When you're in an outpatient clinic, you mainly get referred by physicians, so it's all acute for the most part.
Is there a difference of you coming in now with your coaching background to then now adding this physical therapy that you're seeing clients come in? How do you see a patient like that? Do you see that there's a difference between how you treat someone versus another physical therapy that doesn't have that coaching background, or?
Oh yeah, night and day. They call me the torturer at the clinic. Just
torturer.
Just because I know where the body could go, and some people are just underload the patients, and it's just I know they can push more, and just to try to get them to the next level. And I've seen so often a patient is doing an exercise and they're talking and just doing the exercise. I'm like, dude, this is not. There's no way you're going through 25 reps and you're not making a squint in your face. You're just going through the motion.
Casual.
And that's casual, right? And that's very common. People don't really want to work hard and stuff like that. They just want things easy. But that's where I'm like, okay.
I can tell the difference. I turn it up.
Yeah.
Little knob.
Yeah, I change an angle here, change a band.
And then they're like, wait a minute. What is this?
What's going on here, So that's what makes the difference with my coaching background. I can really tell when someone's not performing at their max capacity.
It's very sad because especially when you're coming back from an injury, concentration and knowing how to activate the muscles properly is so key to your recovery process.
Right.
That people are doing therapy and they're just mindlessly kick extensions or sitting and getting up, and they're not focusing on the actual contraction, what they're contracting, what they're trying to work on, right?
Right. And that's where it comes the internal cues and external cues and whatnot, and really trying to get into the person's brain. Well, I don't blame them, because as well, history fitness just started maybe like in the 1970s. Don't quote me on that, but like it was really recent. Like back in the day, your grandparents like did not know what a gym is, did not know what a plate is. That's all like real recent.
Right.
So like I don't blame them, but there still has to be some accountability and some intentionality between the physical therapist and the patient. Like, hey, you should feel this. If you don't feel this, then we got to work on something or make an adjustment or do something else. But and that's where the bodybuilding realm comes from, you know, like the whole internal.
I feel like if you're not giving so many cues that the person's like being like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like, then you're not cueing the person. Because if they're not having a change in their head, excuse me, where they're like, hey, oh man, this is hard. This is really hard. Like I can't concentrate on doing everything at the same time. That's when you know that they're actually making a change and they're working.
Right.
As for what you said that on our grandparents, I saw a post recently. I thought it was really funny. During this guy was saying that during World War I and World War II, all they did was jumping jacks, sit-ups, and the push-ups, and climbing a rope. Right. And it's like they didn't have this fancy stuff or knowledge really, because what it is that we've learned, we have a new experience, a new understanding of what we should do to prepare ourselves for exercise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a specific warm-up that you do for your patients, or you just get in and start working out?
So it depends on really what they're coming in for. Mm-hmm. But I like to see them more like in different shapes, like the shapes and positions that I like to get to as more functionality on like everyday activities. Okay. Because we often repeat the same shapes in the same positions, just we're accomplishing a different task, right?
Right.
So so theoretically, I would see if it's an older patient, like how they sit to stand, right? How they do a split stance, right? Like a lunge. Almost. And different aspects of like if they're able to raise their shoulder, like things like that of that nature. But it really depends on like what they're coming in for. But I like to go more like a holistic approach, because let's say their left leg, they can't balance on the left leg and they're having right back pain, then okay, that gives me an indication that there's a loss of stability going across the body. So now that's like more of like a whole body approach versus just looking at the right back, right?
Right.
So it really depends on the situation, but yeah, that's where it's at.
Okay. So when you're assessing someone, because that's mainly like the assessment part,
right?
You make them do as many movements as possible.
For the most part, many movements that give me a picture of what's going on.
Exactly.
But every time they come in, every time they come in, I'm reassessing. Like I'm just like, okay, let's see where we're at today. And maybe I don't get to all of them that same day, because you know we're limited by insurance. We have 1 hour to really get to what we're doing there. So that's what I'm trying to derail from, you know. But point is that we assess them as I go. I assess them and I'm like, okay, you're missing this capacity, you're missing this, your lack of motor control here, lack of strength here, and muscle imbalance. Maybe you know motor control is mainly the thing that I see a lot. Just people don't know how to move.
Right. And that goes back to what we were saying, concentration. Motor control has so much need into your concentration and into the exercise that you're doing.
Right.
People forget. This is so important. Our muscular system works as a voluntary system.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
We forget that there's a difference between involuntary and voluntary.
Right.
And involuntary means we don't have to think about it. But voluntary is we gotta volunteer them. We gotta think about what we're doing.
Right.
And that's where motor control, all of it comes in, is being able to volunteer the right muscles to move in the right direction to be able to be controlled. No?
Right. And to that point, like you first start with them trying to think about what they're doing. Right. But essentially over time, you make the task harder by distracting their mind and then doing a more like, so it can become involuntary. Right. Because you don't want them to think, oh, contract my quad every time I stand up, you know?
No, after a certain amount of tries, after a certain amount of times, it becomes a second nature to you.
Right.
It's not so much that you're like no longer needing to think about it, because at some point you do have to reset yourself to get, you know, to start doing it again. Because sometimes, for example, I find myself like, I'll be working out and I'll be like, man, I feel like my right glute is not It's not doing what I want it to do, right? So then there's things that we can do to obviously reset that so that you get them doing it, you know?
Yeah. What I like to call that is what I told all my patients, like, we need to update your iOS. Right now, you're outdated like iPhone. We need to update you. You are outdated. So you need to do a full reboot, and we need to get you back to where you should be functioning at, you know?
For sure. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard when you come in and you're like, you haven't done this ever, like, because you never thought about it. And now you hurt and you're like, man, I gotta really focus on my body so I can get out of this pain.
Yeah, and that's what comes back to a lot with like where we're at as a society is like with pain and all that. Like everyone's just like pain, but like there's different aspects that get you to the point of pain. You know, pain is just a signal to your body being sent to the mind, like, hey, something's wrong down here. We need to check it out. But doesn't necessarily mean that something's really wrong. It could just be like a lack of something, a lack of functionality, a lack of motor control, a lack of capacity at certain aspects, you know, that are sending you this pain signal. Everyone's so obsessed with pain. And like, then we start going to the route of opioids. We start going into a route of different aspects, right? So like, it's crazy. It's just, you know, like re-educating patients and re-educating other professionals. Like, hey, it's not so much the pain aspect, but it's like, okay, how did they get to the pain? What's their perception on pain? Like, you know, like it's
you know a lot about pain. You know, I wanted to ask you about this. You know, I know that you're recovering from an injury.
Right.
It happened in August, right?
June.
Oh my God, that's right, June.
Yeah, right before Father's Day.
Right before
the weekend of Father's Day.
What exactly? So for the people that don't know, obviously. What exactly happened? And how did you feel? What was the pain level on that one? Huh?
Well, so basically I was playing flag football at the Done Deal League, Done Deal tournament.
Right.
And one of my teammates just dove for a flag. He landed on my ankle. My ankle got stuck under him and I flipped over. So with that force, when I looked down on my foot was sideways. I look up, I look back down, Andy, and I'm like, my foot is sideways, and I just dropped to the ground. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening right now. And I kept looking at my foot like, this is so real. Like, this is not happening to me right now. And the first thought that came to my mind is like, my wife is going to kill me.
He didn't care about anything else.
I swear. I was like, my wife is going to kill me because she's always like, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. And I felt so preprepared, but it was just like an external event. Unfortunate event. You know, it's like one of those things.
It's a freak accident. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's a freak. I would never blame flag football. And
you blame your teammate though. What are you doing jumping?
I mean, yeah, I one aspect I will, but I mean, I don't like to dive into that deep hole, you know? Like he was just playing football. Whatever. It's a part of the game. But dude, I honestly wasn't in that much pain. I was just in shock. Like, just straight shock. And then like 10 minutes later, the EMT were there, paramedics, and they just gave me fentanyl and all the painkillers. So I really wasn't in pain. It was just like the shock of like all the repercussions of like, shit, now I can't go to work. Now tomorrow's Father's Day. Now I'm gonna be stuck in the hospital. Now they're gonna readjust my foot. Now I can't work out anymore. Like I dove deep into a bunch of rabbit holes that I was like, oh man, I don't know.
Mentally, it was taxing for sure.
Yeah, it was a big roller coaster, but mentally it was probably the worst. Physically, you know, I work out really hard, so I do a lot of grunt work, and I really physically prepare myself for a physical extreme of just stress. Right. But so like the physical part wasn't as tough, but the mental part, they got me by surprise.
Of course.
It definitely gave me a lot more empathy on my patients.
Of course, man. Because once you realize you can't do what you love to do.
Right.
Oh, man.
And your routine's out the window.
Outlet. Yeah. That's your outlet. That's your let go.
Right.
And the minute that gets taken away from you, it's like, it's hard to replace.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then your nutrition is not as good because now you're looking for comfort food. Now you're not sleeping as well. Now you have you technically don't have a purpose at that moment because you're just sitting there waiting for recovery, you know? So like I had to go through like 3 weeks of just being in a cast, being dependable on my wonderful wife that she had to deal with.
No, and you have multiple kids to have to go after. So imagine how was that in the house, you know, not being able to move around.
Yeah, that was a big burden on my wife, especially. God bless her and her soul. I was so blessed to have
You're
her.
not playing football again.
Every time she looks at me, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm gonna play. No. I mean, I honestly, I'm like traumatized, but now I really know, like, I really understand the risk and reward, you know, like it's really rewarding to play the game I love since young, but the risk of something can happen to me, and like I have 3 other ones that depend on me. Like it's kind of like the give or take there. Like maybe I should not play for now, you know? Unless like I always say, like my daughter plays flag football and she loves it. She's like fully in. So like if she asks me to play with her, I'm gonna go play.
Oh, absolutely. I bet. Yeah.
For recreationally, maybe not for now. You know, I'm gonna focus on other things.
So how soon after the injury did you go into surgery?
The day after.
Right after.
Yeah. They wanted to send me home, but I was like, I knew better. Trained as a physical therapist, I was like, I need to get into recovery now, so I need surgery now. I'm not waiting a week. I'm not waiting.
They popped your ankle back in.
Yeah.
And they were trying to send you home without surgery?
Yeah. Because it wasn't like an emergency because I didn't have an open.
You didn't have an open wound.
Right.
You didn't have any broken ligament. I mean, not ligaments, but like blood vessels or anything like that.
Yeah, no arteries, no nerves, none of that aspect. So it wasn't like a deadly thing. I wasn't lose my foot.
Perfect.
It was just like really broken bone and dislocation. So, but I was like,
so you broke the fibula? I
broke the fibula. Yeah. The fibula, the little bone right
next to. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I dislocated my foot.
Yeah. No, I remember. I gotta tell you, I'm very cringy when I see stuff like that. So I came by to like peek, and I was like, I can't watch. I can't look at this.
Man,
I almost pass out.
Yeah, I can imagine. I
imagine you being there, like, oh, look at the foot. Oh my God, that's so rough.
I know, but it's I don't know. It's like very fortunate, unfortunate, right?
Yeah, unfortunate. But at the same time, you learn something from it.
Right. And I learned something big.
Right.
Like big. Like it's like, okay, now I should focus on more of my mental aspect, more of my career and aspect versus like physical. Yeah,
because you were all into your physical and you were
fitness,
like, oh, this is it.
I was so ready.
Like, because you also do CrossFit, correct?
That's right.
You compete. CrossFit.
I compete often, just for fun, but not. I'm not trying to make it to the championship or games or none of that.
No, that's fine. It's your outlet. That's your type of outlet. And how do you like CrossFit?
Man, CrossFit has essentially changed my life, in a very positive way. You know, like the way they preach nutrition, sleep, taking care of your body, the way they preach fundamentals and functionality. It really ingrained into like who I'm trying to be as a person and the principles of what I look up to, you know? Like, so CrossFit has a bad rep because of the injuries and whatnot. But, I always compare it to, let's say, like soccer or like runners, like,
right.
Dude.
Olympic lifting requires skill.
Right.
Any skill requires about 10,000 hours of you to be able to master that skill.
That's for sure.
So when people go into CrossFit and they just think it's a workout and they don't realize that it's a skill that requires you to properly lift this weight and then have the mobility to be able to get those elbows underneath, have the mobility for the shoulders to go above your head. When they go into that and they think it's just a workout and they don't have the skill to properly do that, then yes, it's going to lead into injury.
Right.
Obviously.
For sure. And not just that, but the number one injury in CrossFit is predetermined injury.
Yeah.
So say you've been doing nagging shoulder injury.
You go in there like,
I got this. You look at the, typically the guys are the ones that get injured the most because they look to their side and they look at the females lifting just as much as they are or maybe more. And you're like, nah, this is not happening. The ego drives in and they start putting on weight because they think, ego lifting. I love that.
Ego lifting is so real, man. Let me tell you, you go into the gym and you look at somebody and you're there and you're like, look, and you're feeling good and you're like, oh, I'm putting in more.
I got this.
Putting in more. And then, that's it. You're done.
Right,
it only takes one bad movement.
Yeah, and Olympic weightlifting is a lot of skill, a lot of stability, a lot of mobility, and it's just fast, it's dynamic, it's power, like
it's very.
So
look, I have nothing against Olympic lifting. I think the Olympic lifting is it has such a great value.
Right.
When you have the time to spend on proper technique.
Right.
My problem with it is when everybody, for example, when I come from the strength and conditioning side.
Right.
So every strength coach is like Olympic lift. Right. And then you're having players that they're developing skills in a sport and they're already spending so much hours there. And now you're bringing them in and now you're making them use a muscle or a muscle group that they're already tired out of because of the skill that they're doing.
Right.
So now you're putting more, and to develop a speed or explosiveness that you can do doing something else.
Right.
That wouldn't be detrimental. My suggestion is level up the skill, make sure that you can get to doing the proper movement and then add it onto your workouts. Amazing, because it's going to propel everybody forward.
Right.
I highly believe that.
Right.
My problem is when people never done it before, now they come in and there's like, yo, I have to Olympic lift. And it's like, hold on.
Yeah. There's steps to that.
There's steps to it. You gotta learn to get to that. Like, you think Saquon Barkley's automatically started Olympic lifting yesterday and just did 300 pounds? No, this man, developed himself little by little.
Right.
That's the only thing, the only issue I have with
Olympic weightlifting or CrossFit?
No, listen, CrossFit is literally a cross of Olympic weightlifting and body and strength and conditioning or bodybuilding.
Right.
So that's what they call it, CrossFit, because you're doing two different things. That you're essentially attacking the CNS by putting yourself through a long period of like aerobic exercise and then doing quick, fast, explosive exercises. I have no problem with that. That's a great way to training.
Right.
My problem is the inconsideration that is taken upon proper technique and how fast people start getting into powerlifting and power cleaning or snatching, and then they never had if they don't have the mobility for it, now they're gonna get hurt.
Right.
And that's the only thing that I fear is people loving something, going into something, and then not being able to do it later.
Right.
That's the most important part. That's the most important part, man. You love it, man. By all means, go do it. But just make sure that you're able to do it right so that you could do it longer.
Right. Have that long trajectory.
For sure.
In mind.
After your injury, how long after that did you go back to Olympic lifting? To CrossFit?
So I got hurt in June. Let's say July, no. August, probably like 3 months.
2-3 months. So you were trying to get back in as quickly as possible.
No, I wasn't. No. Actually, I was like, this is perfect. Now I'm gonna work on all the fundamentals and do them uncommonly well.
Yes.
So I started working on air squats, on single leg squats, on push-ups, on pull-ups, and really trying to hone in on all the fundamentals. So when I do come back, my foundation's even stronger.
Exactly.
So then I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yes. That's beautiful, because that's like the beginning.
Yeah.
Whenever I get somebody new that starts working, and then I start them the same way.
Yeah.
Unilaterally.
Yeah.
I'd rather somebody be able to do a single leg squat than squat 300 pounds.
Yeah, all day. It's more transferable to real guys. Like,
100%.
who the hell is gonna push? You never propel forward with 2 legs.
No, not only that, you're never in that position.
Right.
Unless you're a power lifter or a bodybuilder that you need to be in that.
Right. It has its moments, right? To build for maximal strength, but
for sure.
Functionality wise, for what I'm sure your clients are coming in for, it doesn't really transfer, right?
No, for sure. And that's something that is preached a lot.
Yeah.
And at least I do, is make sure you're doing the training for what you're going to be doing.
Right.
100%.
What could transfer?
Of course.
Yeah. If it doesn't transfer, it's useless.
It's completely useless. You're there. You're just, okay, I don't want to say completely useless.
Right.
Because there's always something you can gain.
Right.
But it's not the optimal thing to do.
Right. And that, especially now with the scarcity of time and intentionality. Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So you said when you started getting back, you started doing those fundamental exercises. Give me some of those that you were really struggling to do, but that they gave you the best benefit.
So fundamentally was the air squat for sure. I was just working on trying to have control on different angles and different ranges. Working tempo, working my ankle range of motion. That was like my main key indicator. doing like sled push, sled drags, like single leg heel taps, trying to work on lower extremity stability. Let's say a lot of like unilateral work, right? So trying to get my left side compared to my right side almost the same as my left, because now I had a lot of atrophy. And let's say just overhead positioning, and there's like different mobility and stability exercises that I was missing that I didn't really have. Not that I really have time, I just didn't prioritize in the past.
Right.
And I really trying to build that strength. So when I do go back, I have a really strong foundation to lift heavy again. Cause I am going back to your point, trying to lift till my eyes get turned off, you know, my lights switch turns off.
Exactly.
So
no, I get it.
that's the goal. So,
of course.
Yeah. So basically air squats, single leg squats.
Is there something that you noticed differently between one leg and the other, or one arm and the other, when you started just doing that?
Oh yeah, I definitely had no stability on the right side.
That's the one of the injury. Obviously.
Yeah. On the injury side, I had no stability.
Zero.
And it was hard to contract my my quad at one point.
Really?
Yeah. I was very apprehensive to put weight on it, to weight bear.
Yeah, of course. And, fear is such a huge
makes a big
factor.
difference. Yeah. So and it's just it was different because I preach it and I show my patients, but then it was different when it was on me. I'm like, Mike, wait, like you got it. You know what you're doing. Okay. Just, you got to follow through. All right. We got this. So then I like, you got to trust yourself. So, just going through back to the basics and the fundamentals once again. It's just, if you do the fundamental well, man, you'll be fine. You'll be pretty good.
Yeah. No, for sure. Is there something that you would do different in your career, like looking back before your injury, that you can say that, man, this is something like, take advantage of this or do this?
I would definitely not try to hurry up the process of like going from the basics to the more advanced, right? Mm-hmm. Going back to, I'm very big proponent of virtuosity, which they preach.
What is it? What is it?
Virtuosity? Yeah, virtuosity.
I don't know what that is.
So that's CrossFit preaches this a lot, and it's doing the common uncommonly well, right? So it's doing the basics really well, so you have a strong foundation to build off of. So if I would have to do something, I would not rush that aspect of my training age, of my training experience, and really trying to do the high level stuff before really being strong at the basics, you know.
From virtues.
Virtue. Oh, okay. Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And it's super necessary. You know, we so often neglect it because we look at it as tedious work.
Right.
And it's like, I have a lot of people that's like, I have them doing 90-90s.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
I
talking
love
about?
them.
Amazing for the hip.
Right.
And they're like, man, I don't want to do this. And it's like, you don't know the benefits.
Right.
You don't know the beauty of this. You don't know that, like, you could be at any moment in need of, you're going to be doing this in PT if you ever need it.
Right.
So why wouldn't you try to do it before?
Right. Like a preventative.
Like a preventive thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then that's the hard part when it comes to your career or your profession is like trying to keep them engaged and like making it sexy in some aspect where they're still engaged, but they're doing the same thing over and over.
Everybody wants the sweat.
Yes.
Everybody wants the, I can't breathe. Everybody wants the, oh my God, I'm working the hardest. It's like, this is not the goal every time.
Right.
You know, your real goal, your real desire is to be able to move longer.
Right.
And live longer.
Right.
I mean, if that's not what you're trying to do, then go kill yourself. That's fine. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But I mean it in the sense of go train to the fullest. Then go do that.
Do an Ironman.
But then you're gonna suffer the repercussions later. Right. Your body will either hate you or thank you. Those are the two things that I always tell people. Is your body's gonna thank you later for doing this, or your body's gonna hate you later.
Right.
One or the other.
Right. For sure.
There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, that's definitely. You only get one body, so what you do to it is definitely a repercussion of how you live. Right. Sedentary, you're gonna feel like shit.
That's so important, and you said it. You know, you only get one body. Why don't we dedicate more time to that body?
Right. You know? Right. One vehicle. Right. I bet. How about this?
Go ahead.
I don't know where it came from, but I know there's a story behind. I can't remember his name, but he's probably Warren Buffett. I think,
Okay.
it's Warren Buffett. I can't really recall or can't reference, but what the gist of the story is like this. If say whoever you believe in, right? Let's say the higher power. If he gives you, or she, right? He or she.
Yeah, at this point,
He or she. He
ahead.
gives you one car, right?
All right.
Choose whatever car you want. All right. What car will you choose, Andy?
I love the Bentley.
Bentley?
That's
What year?
my dream
What
car.
color? Give me it all. Give me all the details.
All the details.
Yeah.
It's the most modern one. I want the most
All
modern
right,
one.
but there's one catch.
All right, go ahead.
The one
What's
car
catch?
for the rest of your life.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. I'll
Take the
that.
Bentley?
Yeah, I'll take the Bentley.
All right. What color would it be?
I'll probably get a light blue.
Light blue. How
Yeah.
about the interior?
Interior would be black. Black interior.
Black interior,
Sure.
light blue, right?
Sure.
With the rims nice and
Everything.
everything
Everything.
classy,
Yeah,
right? But you only
sure.
get one.
I only get one. I'll take that one.
All right. How well will you take care of that one car?
It'll be washed daily.
Daily, right?
Daily. Interiorly, that's just be super clean.
Ridiculously, right?
Ridiculously clean.
Right. So back to my point. You get one body.
Mhm.
Why aren't you taking care of
Exactly.
it? Daily.
Daily.
I know you're
right.
cleaning it daily.
Yeah.
You're cleaning that.
Sometimes. yes.
But
Daily.
you get what I'm
get
trying to
it.
say? It's a
100%.
vehicle is a vehicle.
100%.
You have your own vehicle. Take care of it. You
And
know?
we got to change the oil in our vehicle constantly.
Yeah. And we got to
Sure.
change the oil every once in a while. We
Sure.
got to go see someone, get worked on, and those are the little things.
Sure.
Got to get a professional to really help you if you don't know how to move, or sometimes even us professionals, right?
Right. No, I'm
Like-
not gonna lie to you. I see a chiro and I
Mhm.
see a massage therapist.
Yeah.
I see
You
people
get
that are
worked
gonna,
on, right?
and I have and I see a physiotherapist as well
Yeah,
that's helping me because I don't know if I told you I tore both of my groins.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
doing all the rigidity, huh? All the rigidity
I'm
drills?
not playing. Just I played. I went from not playing too much,
Mhm.
and then last year, well, the year before in December, I started training.
Yeah.
For a tournament, and I went all in, twice a day, workouts,
Yeah.
plus field work, plus extra field work.
Yeah.
So it was like I was training,
Overtraining.
for sure. I mean, I was eating, I was like properly supplementing myself, but I was not giving myself rest for sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Not enough rest. Not the amount of rest that I should have been getting.
Right.
And bro, I got to a point, I was been dealing with the same pain in my groin.
Mhm.
I just punch it.
Yeah.
Foam roll.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then
Yeah.
once I would get hot, like I could keep going.
Right.
I got to a point I couldn't run.
Right.
Like it wasn't like, it was just so painful that I just could not take off, could not run. Took like a week off, went back at it, completely gone. The next day I couldn't run again. I was like, okay, now I'm done.
Yeah.
So I took a time off and then I came back little by little, trying to start slowly working back. And then I made contact with one guy and tore everything. And now I'm in that stage of like,
Apprehensive to kind of run.
yeah. Well, I can't run. I can't sprint right now if I wanted to.
Oh.
No, I can't run away from anybody. I have to fight. I have to fight and protect myself. That's the only way I can do it. But yeah, I'm working little by little. But anything that has to do with bringing my legs closer to each other is so painful. So rehab's going well though. I'm feeling good.
Right.
I'm able to do a lot of things, but it's what you said. I'm doing all those little things, all those common things, trying to do them uncommonly well, like you just said. I think that, my ability to, I know a lot, but working with other people and bouncing ideas with other professionals has helped me so much.
Right. Night and day.
And I think that's what we're here for, man.
Yeah.
We're not meant to do everything. We can't do everything.
Right.
Because if we could.
Yeah. And it comes back to like, you probably have the knowledge, the basic knowledge to take care of yourself to do rehab, right?
Right.
I'm assuming. Well, now with the internet,
yeah,
anyone can do the rehab, right?
Yeah.
But there's some holes that you're probably not looking at that someone else can look at.
Can see, yeah.
See, right? Because they're seeing from the outside in. And that's when it comes back to getting help. Not always doing it, especially the guys. They always think that they can do it all themselves.
For sure.
But once it backfire once, you know that you need some help, right? But point is that there's always a lens that you're probably not looking at, and you're always blindsided by what you know and your experiences, and someone else can help you
For
really
sure.
see what you're not seeing,
Absolutely. And I always tell people, like, yo, invest into your body.
All right.
Invest into your body. This is the one you got. You got
the one vehicle.
Everybody's always like, man, it's just physical therapy is too expensive, or this is too. It's like, brother,
Yeah.
you'll go to the club,
right?
and
Spend a grand
on liquor
night.
and on fucking up your brain. Sorry, and you won't do that for your own body. To improve your lifestyle, so you can maybe go back to the club and do it better. You know, like come on, man.
Yeah, it's it's really what you value, right?
It's hard. Yeah.
Like let's say society nowadays, they won't blink an eye to buy an iPhone that costs $1,000, right? You won't blink. You'll be like, you have to have it. Like it's normal now, sure. Right?
It is. But $25 a month.
Yeah,
for the next 3 years.
Yeah. Why not? A grand, drop it, boom. The phone breaks. You have to pay another grand.
Yeah,
right. But come to the health, they'll hesitate to pay $100 to just get checked up, like get an evaluation or be preventative, right?
Or work with a therapist to like massage or stretch, anything of that stuff.
Right. Which therapist? Well, it depends on the therapist, but
yeah,
physiotherapists, quote physiotherapists, do not give massages.
All right, so go ahead. That's actually I was going to ask you. Is there any hands-on work that you do on the patient, or you do everything from the outside in?
So there are therapists that do both, but I'm a manual therapist. So yes, I do hands-on work, but the reason why I comment that is because some patients think that we're massage therapists, that we just spend an hour giving them a feel-good massage. And really that's not where we're in business for, or not business, but we're in a career for.
Right.
Physiotherapists really help the person get back to doing what they love, right?
Right.
And that's the beginning might look like some soft tissue mobilization or some massage, right?
Right.
What they foresee as massage, but it's mainly like manual therapy to be able to get you to do more of the positionings or the motor control, just to get you where you want to get to, right? Or like walk again or jump and whatnot.
At the end of the day, you're helping them for them to move themselves.
Yeah, it's just a tool.
They're gonna have to move themselves.
Yeah, it's just a tool that we use to get you to a certain point, right? But we're not massage therapists, so don't come to me for massages, all right? Oh, man, that's my pet peeve.
That's your number one thing is like, man, I just want you to rub my thigh.
Yeah, it's like, no, thigh. Well, that's not happening. We're doing
foam roll. Here you go.
Yeah, here you go.
I get it. It's funny because I actually do. I do some of that work, soft tissue work. Right. And it's painful, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I understand why somebody has to do it.
Right.
At the end of the day, I understand that your guys, the position that you have taken is more of like self rehab, like you're teaching someone for them to actually themselves be able to do it.
Right.
And I think ideally that's key because you're gonna be on your own. Like you're not gonna be next to that person the whole time life, for their life. Yeah, they're gonna end up going on their own. And unless you teach them to properly go do it on their own, then you didn't do your job, but you did do your job, depending on what you did.
A lot of our job is educating. Like that's literally something I did not know. And when I realized, I was like, oh, I'm literally a teacher all the time. I'm just like all day I'm preaching. Like people are coming to me like, hey, so what should I do with this? Nutrition, how should I sleep this? And I'm like, damn, this is like, like it's actually, they 100%. Look up because physical therapists, I'm pretty fit or whatnot, you can say. But like
you're perfect.
Yeah, just a little bit, right? But
I get it though. Teaching, if you leave a class and you did not teach one thing, then you did not do anything in that class.
Right. You didn't make an impact.
Yeah. Every single class that I've teach, most of them, there are some times I just don't talk. But sometimes, because it's hard. It's hard to always find a little moment. But there's always a little teaching moment where you find a cue that you're like, this is why you do this. And even if you repeat the same thing 4 times, man, you have no idea it takes a lot for people to really get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I never understood that. I thought that once I tell you one time, that's enough. But I realized that I'm not like that.
Right.
Sometimes I need to be told the same thing a couple of times by different people, and then I'll finally get it.
Like, oh,
you know what I mean? Okay. And it's like, I go back, like, let's say you told me something, and then Jay told me, And I'm like, I come back to you. I'm like, yo, man, my boy just told me. It's like, I just told you this like yesterday. You know, this happens so often.
That's like with that wife scenario.
Yeah.
Like you tell your wife, yo, you should do this, you should do this. Hey, babe, you should do this. You should eat like this, do this.
Yeah.
You could tell her 100 times, but it doesn't matter. Now, one person comes, hey, babe, so you know, Fulanito told me to do this and this will be great for me. I'm like, really? Like I've been telling you for years. Come on, man.
Yo, that happens so much.
That's why I would never, like I always tell my anyone, don't ever try to preach to your wife or try to change her or try to influence her. In some aspects, just do it indirectly by your actions. But yeah, they will brush it off, you know, not intentionally. But.
Right. I learned this in church, actually, going to church. It's like, there's a verse that actually talks about the word will never come back empty.
Okay.
Meaning when it's preached, so this is what explained. It's like when it's preached, the word will reach the person at their spirit.
Right.
They might not get it at that moment, but later on in life, they will.
Right.
So it's like a plant that is here.
Yeah.
He came, he put water. You came, you put water. I came, I put water. I'm the one that saw the fruit.
Right. I got you.
That doesn't mean that you didn't water that plant.
Right. Then
that he didn't water that plant. Everybody has poured into it, and it's just little by little. So that's why sometimes, man, I get so excited and so happy to see someone succeed that I poured into.
Right.
Because I know that even though what I did, he could have been with me once or twice only that I trained him.
Mm-hmm.
But man, let me tell you, those once or twice, I know that I made an impact here and here. Mm-hmm. And that's what drives me to continue doing. So what is something like that drives you to be a better physical therapist or coach?
So when I would say when the person flips a switch, right? I like that term a lot by Bedros Keuilian, that he talks about flipping the switch.
Okay.
So like when I see in their eyes or in their face or in their demeanor, they're like ready to be their 2.0 selves. That gives me a fulfillment of satisfaction. Like, oh, okay, I made a difference.
You know you're working.
Yeah. Because like a lot of people are on their 1.0 selves. They know they don't know the capacity that they can do. They can do a lot more. And like just giving them that little and giving them over that mountain is like, and seeing them be better is so rewarding.
Seeing the determination on their face too,
yeah,
right?
Like okay, I
you
got
see
this.
them and you're like, oh, this guy's working hard, right?
Yeah. Oh. They flipped the switch.
I love that. I love that, flipping the switch. Oh man, that's awesome. I see that so often, especially when we play sports, right? Like, you know when somebody's locked in.
Like that dog.
Oof, when they come in and you're like, oh man, this guy's gonna kill it today. And I've seen that so much. You know, we play the sport, man.
Right.
You know when that comes on to you too.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh,
I'm in.
Yeah. I'm in hot today. Bro, let me tell you, you don't get hurt that tourney where you guys win it?
Of course, I think so. Yeah, we were stacked.
Your team went to the to the finals. They lost in the finals.
In the finals?
They lost in the finals.
You know, I didn't want to ask because I was so like.
Bro, they ended up picking up somebody else.
Yeah. That
came in, and then he ended up passing out almost.
What?
Yeah.
Passing out?
Yeah, passing out almost. It's funny because his name is Mikey too. He came in, and then they brought in another guy, and bro, they were very competitive, and they ended up losing, but it was yeah.
But yeah, we would have won it for sure then. If they made it to the finals without me, then for sure.
There you go. Have that in your repertoire to probably come back. I'm kidding, wife. Your wife is gonna be like, no. I get it, bro. My mom, bro, look, I gotta tell you, man, my injury career has been greater than my actual career of playing.
Man, you really did have a. That's how I first saw you. Also,
bro, I fractured. I have a stress fracture in my lower back, fractured my skull, and now torn groins. It just seems like it's never ending. But brother, I can't tell you I can't give up.
Yeah,
it's like a drive in me that's like, yo, just when one stone just comes over, we gotta flip it and let's go. Move to the next one. Move to the next one. Life is like that, man. I think it builds more character, and little by little, it's just making me stronger. And I hope that that's what it is.
No, for sure. It
100%.
Making you stronger and teaching you things, right? And that's because if you don't learn anything from it, then you just wasted an adversity event.
I just saw this today. You either become wise, or damn, what was it? It's either you waste the time or you become wise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whenever an adversity hits, it's either you waste your time or you become wise from it.
Yeah.
And the more adversity you go to, you should become wiser sooner.
Yeah, that's it.
And if you didn't, you're not using the wisdom the correct way, right?
Right. It's like the more you look out for failures, or the more you fail, the faster you learn. Like in Google has tried to experiment and they fail a million times. But that one time they hit big. Yeah. And now look at them now.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, I think, you know, that goes also for just, you know, our physical bodies. Like, you know, you can put in so much work,
right?
You know, and one day you'll get that comment that somebody comes and tells you, man, that comment will take you through the roof. Like, we'll be like, wow, you know, I know that what I did was right. You know what I mean? Right. So much that we can talk about. I wanna ask you now, going back to the CrossFit and the training. In your experience as a coach and an athlete yourself,
yeah,
what is one thing that's like stopping people from, you know, getting better?
Getting better in what aspect?
Like in the aspect of like getting better, like stronger, faster.
But are you saying in CrossFit or
CrossFit? Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, yeah, CrossFit. Like obviously you don't get too faster, but I mean like stronger, better mobility. Like what's something that stops them? What's something that stops them from doing that?
I would say the consistency and their level of recovery that go tie one and one together. Yes. Right? Because the more you're consistent, the more you can push the pedal. A lot of times. People get this motivation, right? And they're motivated for 3 months or a month. So they're going really, really hard, right? But there has that one person that's just disciplined and they're not motivated to that extent, but they're disciplined to what they're trying to accomplish. And they're going moderately hard for 6 months. Mm-hmm. Who do you think is going to be stronger at the end? Not the 3 month one that went really hard. No, the one that's consistent for 6 months. 6 months, yeah. So consistency and able to recover in the aspect of sleeping well, having discipline on sleep hygiene, nutrition, anti-inflammatory diet, right? Taking off the sugars, alcohol, the poison, or whatnot, and managing stress and whatnot. Those are all aspects in the game of recovery. Other than, you know, the cold plunges and this and that, but that's all extra, right? That's all a trend right now, but it does help. It does help, but the foundation is sleep, nutrition, and managing stress, right?
And recovery, right?
And that's a component of recovery. So being able to hone in on that and the consistency is what I see is the limiting factors on athletes in general, to get to where they're trying to get to, or just be stronger, faster. And
what's an advice to get there? To be able to stay disciplined and consistent?
Write down your end goal and really write down your end goal, write your why, and really trying to hone in on why you're trying to do things, why you're trying to do what you're trying to do. So a lot of times, like I speak to people and they're like, because they see me with the 6-pack and whatnot and fit and whatnot, but I've been doing this for like a long time.
Yeah, you didn't start yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't start yesterday, right?
Sure. You've been pouring into this tree for a long time.
Yeah. So like they're like, oh, you know, Mike, what does it take to be fit or whatnot? And I'm like, and I always come back to like, what drives you is literally going to get you to where you're trying to get to. For example, like if you are trying to get to the goal for an intrinsic factor, like getting a 6-pack ab, looking good in the mirror, then that's going to die out quick. When shit hits the road, when shit hits a fan, the shit gets hard, it's going to die out. Sure. You're going to be like, I don't give a shit what other people think of me. I don't care if I look fat or not. Like, I don't care. That's an extrinsic, right? You have an intrinsic motivator, right? Which is, I want to be healthy, be the best version of myself, for my role models, I'll be the best role model for my kids, for my mom, for my parents, for everyone around me. Just level them up, right? By being that person, you know, that's always health-minded and taking care of their bodies and in that one vehicle, then that's gonna last a lot longer, and that's gotten me where I am today, versus really getting into the extrinsic factor. So if you wanna be consistent, find the intrinsic factor, which I just gave you one, a big one.
So basically how I took it is your intrinsic is dependent on your intrinsic. Did I say that right? Extrinsic. I can't, man. I'm Cuban.
External.
And I have terrible English speaking.
Don't worry. I'm the same. I'm the same. But Spanglish.
Extrinsic.
Yeah. So external. We can call it external.
So your external is dependent on your internal. So if your internal motivator is going to give you your external motivator, meaning if you focus on doing from the within, you're going to get the results externally that you're looking for.
Oh yeah, but specifically to fitness, and
sure,
that's for sure.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. And
obviously, there's two different goals, but what I mean is like when you focus on one of them, especially from inside out, you'll get further than if you start from outside in.
Right. Talking about values, goals, and all that. That's all internal, right?
Exactly.
When no one's looking, no one's judging you. Like, what's important to you, right? Like, what's in your deathbed, and you look back at your life, and you're like, oh, I did what I wanted to do. I did what fulfilled me, right?
Exactly. I did everything I needed to do.
Yeah, needed and wanted to do. Because sometimes, like, there's people out there doing things that they like need to do, but in essence, it's not important to them.
Right.
They think they need to do, but it's not important to them. Like, a lot of times I see my colleagues like they work a lot, right? And they say family is important, but they get home late. They don't spend intentional time with their family. So you look at their schedule. The schedule is not family; it's more career. So they need to do their career, right? Obviously, but when they look back, they're like, okay, is that is that what I really wanted to do with my life? So I don't know if I explain myself well.
No, that's perfect. But and it's true. It's a lot of us, we, including myself, I'd say, sometimes I don't have that intentional time with my daughter that I want to have as much, and it's due to me putting in so much time and hours into work and putting myself out there, right?
And not to blame you, that's okay too. But then you gotta be understandable or understand in your own mind, like differentiating between like what you're making important. Like, it happens to me all the time. Like, I'm trying to be the best professional, have advanced my career as much as I can, but sometimes I get caught in the moment of trying to learn, trying to be the best, trying to do this, trying to do that, and then I brush off the time with the fam, right?
Of course.
And then you're like, then I'm like, damn, okay, what's important to me? The career is a rubber ball. The family is a glass ball. I can drop the rubber ball 100 times. It's going to bounce back up. If I drop the glass ball and it cracks, then now my family is affected. Now I can't really fix that glass ball. So I need to make sure this is good, because when I'm in my deathbed, that's going to be important.
That's going to be
the career.
It's
going to, So
it's what you take with you. It's what you take with you. The memories and like the memories that you take with you and the memories that you leave behind.
Right.
With the people you love.
Right.
That's it.
That's it, man. And I don't know where we got this to this topic, but yeah, you're getting in my feelings right now.
Shed a tear. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll call my wife now.
Yeah, man, baby. Hey, let's do something. Let's go to Disney.
Oh shoot, that's it. She's gonna be like, yo, you gotta go on there more often. Nah, listen. Everything has something to do with the other.
Right.
I think if our mental is not there, then we're not going to put as much or the right amount into our physical. Mm-hmm. So everything needs to connect at the end of the day. And that's how we got here, man. Because at the end of the day, we have to find the motivation, find the desire, put it into work, and then do the right work.
Right.
That's the main idea.
Right.
If anybody can take something out of what we talked about today, is do the right work for what you are planning to do.
Right.
You want to live longer? Move right. In the right direction. Right. Don't try to overdo yourself.
Right.
You're gonna be a powerlifter, go train like a powerlifter.
Right. And that's okay.
That's okay. That's man, listen, I have nothing against people following their dreams. My problem is when people try to push on something to somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like they need to go through these barriers first,
Right.
before they can get there.
Right.
You know,
And at the end of the day, exercise, right? Just get
exercise is
moving.
exercise for sure.
Like if you like Pilates, then do
Uh-huh.
Pilates.
Oh yeah,
I never impose CrossFit to anyone. You know,
Oh,
if they say they're
sure.
CrossFitter, great, you're my people.
amazing.
But if you don't do CrossFit, then that's fine too. As long as
sure.
you get moving, right?
Exactly.
You do strength and conditioning, it's great. I mean, we just got to move, right? And
For sure.
that's a non-negotiable.
For sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Staying active, and then teaching whenever you can. Whenever whatever you've learned that you've taken from somebody else, go ahead and pass it on. I think
Right.
that's so important.
Right.
You know, that's how we stay growing.
Yeah, that's
how we
it.
stay going.
Because America is we're not going to the right place.
No, not
In
all
general
of
with
us.
health. I'm
Yeah,
saying.
not everybody, not
Right,
everybody,
right.
and that's the tough one. It's really tough to push health here, and there's so many different people trying to push it in different manners.
Right.
But I think that just move. I think it should be the goal.
Yeah.
Just hey, get moving.
We're built to move.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, I really appreciate you coming, brother.
Of course. I love this.
This has been great. And
Yeah.
I think that, I hope that everybody can take something from us, and, we'll take questions and see what else people wanted to know.
Mhm.
Because obviously, we do this for the people, not just for us, even though it does help with our mental, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you.
so much, bro. Appreciate you for coming.